A Twisted Stories original novella. This is Dynasty of Secrets, a story of love, betrayal, greed, ambition, forbidden desires, and dangerous secrets hidden behind the gates of the city's most powerful family. A family whose wealth controls the city, a mansion built on silence, and servants who know enough to destroy it all. The house that silence built. The city never slept. Not because it was alive, because it was afraid. Every streetlight flickered beneath the shadows of one name, the Vale family. People whispered in grocery stores. Judges paused before signing papers connected to them. Politicians smiled too hard whenever cameras appeared. The police chief took private calls and suddenly changed investigations. Even the agents from the federal offices knew the unspoken rule. You do not touch the Vales, not unless you wanted your career buried, your reputation ruined, or your family mysterious caught in scandal. They swore they'll never commit. The city belonged to them, not on paper, but everyone knew. Money owned things, fear owned people, and the Vales owned both. Their estate sat on the outskirts of the city, atop Blackstone Hill, an enormous mansion of marble, glass, and old secrets. People called it a palace. The staff called it something else, the cage, because once you entered the Vale household, you learned things you weren't never supposed to know. And if you stayed long enough, those things became chains. At exactly 5 a.m., Eleanor Brooks adjusted the collar of her black maid uniform and stared at herself in the servant quarters mirror. 42 years old, beautiful, composed, and dangerous. Not because she wanted to be, because survival had made her that way. She sprayed perfume onto her wrist, then froze. A knock, 3 soft taps. Not at the servant's door, not at this hour. Her eyes slowly lifted. She knew that knock. No. Not now. Not before breakfast. Not before everyone woke up. Another knock, 3 taps, slow, confident, like someone who knew they belonged. Because he did. Eleanor opened the door only enough to see his face, and immediately regretted it. Damien Vale, head of the family, billionaire, untouchable, and the husband she had secretly been sleeping with for almost 3 years. He stood there in the dark robe, silver beginning to invade his beard, eyes carrying the arrogance of a man who had never heard the word no. Damien smiled. Good morning. Eleanor looked down the hallway. Are you insane? He leaned against the doorway. I missed you. You have a wife, and yet I'm here. Her jaw tightened. You can't come here. Why? Because people will notice things. He laughed softly. People notice things. If only he knew. People had noticed plenty, especially one person. Downstairs, Harold Brooks polished crystal glasses in the dining room. 47, tall, quiet, the perfect butler. Perfect because he understood something. Invisible people survived. Visible people disappeared. Harold had worked for the Vales nearly 20 years, long enough to know where skeletons was buried, long enough to know which son had crashed a car years ago and paid to make the witness vanish, long enough to know which daughter had a secret child hidden overseas, long enough to know Damien's Vale marriage was a performance, and long enough to know his own wife had changed. Little things, late night excuses, new perfume, smiles that weren't for him. He stared at his reflection in the silver tray, then reached into his pocket, pulled out his phone, opened a hidden folder. Inside were pictures, dates, audio files, screenshots, names, secrets, thousands of them. Because Harold had developed a habit years ago, insurance. If powerful people destroyed lives, you collected proof, just in case a floorboard creaked. He looked up. Hiding on the staircase was Sebastian Vale, 28, oldest son, future heir, in trouble, wearing expensive suits. Sebastian smirked. Morning, Harold. Harold nodded. Sir. Sebastian descended slowly, too slowly, like he wanted something. Funny thing, Sebastian said Harold kept polishing. Is it? Sebastian smiled. I couldn't sleep. Silence. Then I saw my father coming from the servant wing. Harold stopped, just barely. But Sebastian saw it, and Sebastian smiled wider, because the Vale family, every hunted weakness, everyone, even blood, especially blood. Upstairs, the West Wing, Sophia Vale sat at her vanity applying lipstick. Perfect wife, perfect smile, perfect image. For 29 years, but perfection had cracked, and this morning she noticed one. Damien wasn't in bed again. She stared into the mirror, then slowly reached into a hidden jewelry box, past diamonds, past emeralds, past luxury, until her fingers touched a photograph. Old photographs no one knew she had. Pictures from years ago, pictures from before Damien, pictures before the wealth, pictures from before the fire. Sophia stared, hands trembling. A single tear rolled down her cheek. Then she whispered, "No." Because beneath the top photograph, someone had placed a note. And she knew she hadn't put it there. 3 words, only 3. "I remember everything." Across the mansion, Eleanor walked quickly through the east hallway, heart pounding, trying to think, trying to breathe, until suddenly a hand grabbed her arm. She gasped. Sebastian, he smiled too calmly, too knowingly. "Eleanor?" Her pulse jumped. "What?" He leaned close, very close. "I have a question." Everything went silent. Then, "How long have you been sleeping with my father?" Everything stopped. The world, her breathing, her heartbeat, everything. Because Sebastian wasn't smiling anymore. And for the first time, Eleanor saw something terrifying. It wasn't anger or shock, not even betrayal. It was excitement. Like he just had discovered a new toy. And before she could answer, Sebastian whispered, "Relax." Then looked towards the security camera in the hallway and smiled. "I already deleted the footage, Eleanor. This is Dynasty of Secrets. Every secret has a price. Every betrayal has consequence. And the truth is always waiting for its turn." To be continued.